Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is going to be a little bit more of a tutorial on how to use the pen tool, and what I'm going to be using is this badge or this little pin that a friend of mine bought for me. He knows that I'm really into past presidents. Hopefully you can see that okay. Past presidents and things like that, and he found this in a shop, and as far as we can all tell, it looks like it was actually authentic from the time period. So it's super cool, and so I think what I'm going to do is one of the things that I wanted to do with this, as soon as I saw it, like, there's something about the design of it that I think is really cool. Just the fact that it maybe it fits on a circle or whatever, but I'd like to put it onto a t-shirt. So what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the actual layer and then take it down to about maybe 50% opacity. And now I'm going to grab the pen tool and just hit P on the keyboard there. There we go. And I'm going to change it to a stroke, and I'm going to change this to black. And we'll add color later, but for now I want to just use black while I'm actually doing the tracing. Okay, so just gonna go right here on the edges, and these straight lines and straight edges and everything are, those are always pretty easy. But it's creating the curves that are always the real challenge. But I'll show you a couple of little techniques here. I think that there's enough variance in these shapes to really kind of show some of these techniques. So for this one right here, obviously we have a nice curve that's going on within the text, so I'm going to just do that. Right here you can select the end point, or the anchor point right there, and then if you've got it as a closed system where like one directly runs into the other, then you'll get this little curvature thing going on right here, and then you can just really just kind of eyeball it. So they're looking good, and I just want to see really quickly. It looks like there's a slight rounding here to these edges, so I'll just go ahead and add that as well. It doesn't have to be quite as dramatic as the other ones, but just really slight, and then we're good. Okay, so there's our V. And for the O, right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like this, where I'm going to go in afterward and then just kind of bring in those curves. Okay, so grab both of these anchor points and then just pull them down to about right here. And then do the same thing on the bottoms. And then this one right here, the inside of this is almost like an elongated egg that we've got going on here. So I'm just going to go like that and then just slightly rotate it. Okay. And now grab both of these, switch them to a fill, and then go over here to the minus front. So that will actually create a hole inside. Okay. Grab the pen tool again. And we're going to go over here. The first thing I'm going to do with this one is do a little curve right here. And this is something that you definitely need to get used to in Illustrator. If you're going to be doing a lot of work in Illustrator, is you've got to get used to using the pen tool. It's very, at first it is very overwhelming. You're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can, like master this or anything, but you can. I don't really consider myself having mastered it, and there's certainly some techniques that I tend to not use myself, but it's mainly because mostly what I do is typographic stuff. So, but you can definitely get familiar enough with it, without needing to become an expert necessarily. And then there's a little bit of like a variance there, so we'll just kind of do that. From this time period, I'm sure, like, just from the things that I've seen, there were definitely some imperfections here, because there wasn't, because none of this was digital. It was everything was done by hand at this point in history. So you can just kind of go in and like when you're doing something like this, you're allowed to have imperfections. It's perfectly fine to have those imperfections. Okay, so now we'll just grab this right here and we'll just swap out the stroke for a fill, and now we're good. And this right here, so the bottom, this I think will be a little bit more challenging because we're working with a lot of letters that have a lot of curvature. You know, like the word Coolidge itself is it just has a lot of curves going on. But all you have to do is just, like, when you go from the point and then go here, just hold down on your mouse, and you can always go back and refine these points. You know, for something like this, you know, you can go in and just kind of drag that down like that, and then drag this down like this, and then let's see, bring this up a little bit so that way we actually have a full curve going on here. Okay, so I'm going to grab these two and just slightly round the letter there. Okay, so now we've got our C. And, you know, if you're, so one of my favorite things to do, and I actually do this with my full-time job as well, we work with a lot of financial institutions. So, so what they do is, like, you know, sometimes these financial institutions don't have true vector copies of their logos. So one of my favorite things to do as part of my job is to recreate logo files, especially from raster images. I actually enjoy doing that. So, you know, people are like, "Well, man, that's crazy. That's weird." I'm like, "Well, I am weird, so deal with it." That's the thing. You just got to embrace your own weirdness. And I have learned to do that in my life, and I'm fine with it. All right. Just go right here. And now grab this one right here. This looks pretty good, right there. The O's are always going to be, you know, they're always going to give you some challenges. But, and then this one right here, we might be able to do this and just kind of rotate it a little bit. Just kind of duplicate that, and that really takes a lot. You know, like it takes some of our work out, so that's good. And I think that I might just kind of play with the perspective on that a little bit. That definitely adds a little bit more to the authenticity of it. Okay, switch back over. And okay, I like that right there. And these right here, you know, this is a pretty simple letter. L's are pretty easy to do. So I'm just going to grab all of the corners right here and just slightly round them. Very good. All right, and then I's, you know, L's are easy, but I's are even easier. But we want to just kind of bring in that little bit of that curve right there. And then when you click on this point, then it resets it. So it makes it a lot easier for you to go in and kind of manipulate those points. And also, it also helps you to get, you know, just get more easily from one point to the other. Okay, D's right here. We've got a straight edge going down here, and then we will have a curve right here on both of these sides. So what we should be able to do here, let's see if it works. Good. And then let's just kind of decrease this one a little bit more. And then this one right here, we'll just grab this anchor point and these anchor points and just kind of bring it up a little bit. Okay, we're going a little bit outside of that D, but it's not a problem. I don't think so anyway. Okay, and then just go right about here. When you're doing these at angles, it's always more of a challenge, but I enjoy challenges, and I hope you do too. Okay. And now, let's see. These are we're almost done with this one, and then I was actually able to find the name of the font for that for the part that says Calvin, right there. And I'll just kind of go in and grab that here in a second. I think I may need to check my other screen and remember what that font name is. I'll just go up here to the top, This G, I think, is making me lay down more paths than any of the other letters. And this one right here, we can just kind of round that out. Now let's grab all of our corners again, and we'll just slightly round them. Looking good. Okay, and then we'll go here and we'll give the E some of that curvature that it needs. Straight edge here, curve right here. And then all of these are straight edges right here, so just go in and make all of these straight edges. You know, like I said, like I said earlier, they don't have to be perfect, because these are all done by hand. None of this was digital. But I'm going to go in here and just round these corners a little bit more. And actually, I need to do that with all of the corners, don't I? Because the uppercase E is nothing but a whole bunch of corners. Okay. All right, looking good. And now I just got to go find out the name of that font, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the name of that font is Bodega Sans, or at least that's going to be our stand-in. It may not have been the original one. You know, this is we're talking back in the 1920s. So I'm just gonna here we go. Bodega Sans black. I think looks good. And what we're gonna do there to get that effect is we're gonna do type on a path tool. So if you've never done this before, one second. All right, so grab your ellipse tool and just kind of go like this. And I'm gonna switch this over just to a stroke, just so it's easier to see. And then we're gonna go type on a path tool and just click on the path. Type out Calvin, and the direction that we need is going to be on the inside of the circle. So we're just gonna kind of bring this right around here. This thing is very sensitive, so just keep that in mind whenever you're working with this. And then we'll just rotate this around, and then we can bring this over. And then as we increase the size of the text, as you can see, it's gonna spread out a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna set this to optical, and then I think I'm going to distort or just kind of bring down the vertical scale of the letters a little bit. So let's go ahead and do some kerning. That way we can get the letters exactly where we want them. And I'm going to bring this back up to about probably 90%. I think that looks good. And let's get the letters in position. There we go. Just go like that. And now we can bring the A in where we need it to. Looking good. And I think I'm going to shift that baseline a little bit. Not too much, maybe like -1 or -2. We're just want to get a really good spacing of the letters. Okay. Looking good. And now at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and create outlines and then just rotate it slightly so that it is, somewhat even there from the top left side to the top right side. And then I will hit unite over here to reset that bounding box. Okay, and we can go ahead and get rid of this one. So now we've got all of our text right here, and this can easily go on, can go on a t-shirt. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a t-shirt out of it. So go on a t-shirt. Shoot, we can even put it on a button or something like that. So all right, so let's go ahead and sample the colors. And we'll go in and select all these individually and pick up on that red right there. Realistically, it should be closer to like a true red, something like this. And then we'll just grab that right there. I forgot to do that. Okay, so here it is. Here is our vector copy directly from this button right here. And I'll show it to you again just in case you didn't see it. There we go. And Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. Yeah, as far as I can tell, as far as we can both tell, this thing is old. And I'm pretty sure it's either it could have been a reproduction. I don't know, but it looks, I mean, it looks old. So anyway, so there is our sorry, bleh, sorry. I just I ran this morning and I'm still very tired from running. I just started running, so I'm a little bit trippy over the words today. But anyway, so here is our vector artwork from this button right here, and I hope that you learned at least one thing on how to use the pen tool in Adobe Illustrator. So if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe at the bottom, and also click the bell for notifications to be notified of all new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.